Hello fantasy managers and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. Had a lot of requests for an updated version of my team. You ask and I deliver. Let's get into the video. Before we delve in, if you're new around here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. We've got a lot more content coming out during pre-season, all designed to help you improve your rank and win your mini league. Okay, between the six, I've gone for Alex McCarthy. Now, I did have Aaron's Ramsdale, and I really do rate Sheffield United. I rate their defence. So I'm kind of a little bit gutted to not have one of their players in this draft. I'm still considering John Egan as well in defence. But I've gone for McCarthy over Ramsdale simply just because of the 0.5 saving. Just the extra flexibility that 0.5 can give going McCarthy over Ramsdale. I don't think there's a huge amount between them, but probably I do edge towards Ramsdale. If it was if they were the same price, I would have gone that way. But McCarthy, coming in just that 0.5 cheaper, I think that, on balance, I'm going to go for him. Southampton have got good opening fixtures, and I think that he is going to be nailed on as a Southampton keeper. Okay, if we just jump over to the comparison here, and I think, the two goalkeepers that I'm really looking at here are Matt Ryan and Alex McCarthy. Now, I think these are, going to be the most popular picks to start the season. I'm definitely decided, I'm going for a cheap goalkeeper, and I think I'm probably going to go for a 4.5. And it really comes down to these two guys because they are, they're pretty much the best 4.5 options. So there's not a huge amount to choose between these two, and I actually think that it's very close. I know most people are edging towards McCarthy, and that's kind of the way I've gone, but I do think there's a lot of merit in going Ryan as well. He's going to be a steady option there, and as you can see in this sort of comparison, there's not a huge amount between them. I would say that I slightly prefer Southampton's fixtures early doors, and that's kind of why I'm edging towards McCarthy. He also got slightly higher points per game last season, hardly anything in it, but on balance, a slight edge towards McCarthy, and that's why I've gone for him in my team. I've gone with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I know they did miss the Community Shield, but it looks like that was only a slight knock. It looks like he's back in full training now. He's linked up with England. So I fully expect him to start game week 1. Obviously, I'm going to be monitoring that situation. And if there is any chance that he is not fit for game week 1, then I'll obviously reconsider. Okay, so switching over to the OPTA Stats tool, and I'm going to have a look at all players for under 8 million. Now, as you can see, Trent Alexander-Arnold coming out on top. 7.5 million, 210 points last season, absolute boss, and it's part of the reason why I really want him in my team. I hope that he's fit. Robertson, interestingly, coming in second, 7 million, 181 points. Van Dijk third. So I just think Liverpool defence in general has been massively underpriced in the game, especially when you look at it comparing to midfielders. Now, I know that, the comparison to midfielders and forwards isn't necessarily a straightforward one because, you've got 4.5 defenders are going to earn a lot more points than, say, 4.5 midfielders or strikers. So you have got to bear that in mind. But even so, I think that there is an interesting comparison there because, you can choose between going 4-4-2 or 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. And then you are kind of comparing, a 7 million defender to a 7.5 million forward or a 7.5 million midfielder. And I think looking at that comparison, Robertson really does come out well. I would certainly have Robertson in my team rather than any 7.5 midfielder or forwards. On that basis, I'm leaning towards going for a Liverpool double up in Robertson. Potentially Van Dijk. I still think Van Dijk's a good shout as well. Moving back to the team then, Vinagre has been in all of my drafts. I think that, he offers fantastic value. I'm not going to go into detail with him because I have done in previous videos. Justin, I think that he's looking great. He's obviously filling in at right back for Pereira, and there's a question mark, when Pereira comes back, is he likely to lose his spot? And I think that he might at right back, but I also know that he also plays left back, which is obviously, Chilwell has gone to Chelsea, so he could potentially go into that spot as well. So I think that, he's one of those players that is good to start the season, very good to start the season, and might be able to keep his place in a pretty solid Leicester back line. And Leicester have some pretty good early fixtures. And of course, coming in at 4.5, he's very friendly on the budget. Before we jump on to forwards and midfielders, I want to say thank you for the thousands of you that have signed up for Fantasy Football Hub membership. Absolutely blown away by the support. Blown away by the feedback that you guys have been given. I'm not going to go over all the benefits. I've demonstrated some of the tools in this video. There are some of the other benefits beneath. all of the resources, all of our community, all of our tools are all designed to help you dominate your FPL Media League and improve your rank. Highly recommend giving it a shot. We've got our pre-season discount of 25% off. That works out around £1.50 a month. So very, very accessible. I'll leave a link in the information card and in the description below. Okay, moving back onto my team, having a look at the midfielders. I'm not going to go into any great detail over Salah and Aubameyang, other than say they're pretty much locks in my team. I am considering Aubameyang to De Bruyne in game week 3. I think that's a interesting move, and obviously City have got a blank and then they play Wolves. Then they go on a nicer run of fixtures, and De Bruyne is someone that I really do want in my team. So I might consider Aubameyang to De Bruyne in game week 3. The other player that I am considering moving out is Son to Fernandes. I've got 1.5 in the bank for this draft. Now, obviously, if I'm planning to do Aubameyang to De Bruyne in game week 3 and Son to Fernandes in game week 2, that's already 2 planned transfers. And I think that, this team isn't going to perform. So I'm likely to want to make other transfers. And that means effectively I'm going to be doing a hit, almost certainly. Now, that does concern me a little bit. So I've really got to sort of think about that and weigh up, whether I actually want to just start with Bruno Fernandes in my team. If I do that, then it's sort of a weigh up, can Son outscore Mitchell by 4 points? I think that he certainly could, but that's sort of far from guaranteed. And if I don't think he is, then it kind of makes sense for me to start with Bruno Fernandes in my team. So that's one of the decisions that I'm weighing up. Obviously, it's not ideal to have a 10.5 player on your bench, so that's also something that I need to consider. But I do think that Bruno Fernandes is the best Manchester United option. You look at his points per game last season, and it was way above pretty much any player in the game. Obviously, he didn't play a full season, he only played half a season. But if he had played the whole season, there's an argument to be made that he could have been the highest scoring player in the entire game. So I do want Bruno Fernandes in my team, especially with Manchester United's kind run of fixtures from game week 2 onwards. Souček is somebody which is certainly not a lock in my team. He's got that good game week 1 fixture against Newcastle, but then West Ham, as I've mentioned in previous videos, go on a really, really tricky run of fixtures that kind of stretches for quite a while. So the reason I've got him in there at the moment is that, he is a real class player, and at 5.0 he offers a lot. He offers just really great value. And I was listening to Andy and Adam, who did their team reveals, link in the description if you want to check those out, and both of them had Souček in their team, and they kind of made the point that he's the type of player that scores a lot from set pieces, and you can do that in any fixture. So I don't completely agree with that, but I do think there is an element of truth, and at 5.0 you're not sort of losing a lot if he doesn't necessarily perform. So at the moment I've gone for him. The other option there is to downgrade Robertson to Van Dijk and upgrade Souček to St. Maximin or someone of that ilk at 5.5. I think there are a few 5.5 options, so I might consider that option as well. Moving on to the strike force, gone with Werner. He's pretty much a lock in my team. I'm not going to go into any great detail around that. Mitrovic, on the other hand, he's not a lock in my team at the moment. I think that he offers good value, but I'm really liking the look of Ings, actually. I'm trying to find a way to squeeze Ings into my team, but, that's going to involve a Robertson downgrade or a Son downgrade and not allow me to get, Bruno Fernandes in there. So currently, I've got Mitrovic, but I do really like the look of Ings. I think he's a bit of a talisman for Southampton. Southampton have got good fixtures. He's proven. I just think that Ings is he's one of those players that's definitely going to score points over the first 4 or 5 game weeks. And you do want those guaranteed point scorers that are just going to churn out points. Mitrovic, on the other hand, he could hit the ground running, or, he could go for the first 3 or 4 games without scoring any points. But again, Fulham do have some half-decent opening fixtures, and I do think he's underpriced, which is why he's in my current draft. Just briefly to touch on the bench, gone for Mitchell. I'm not convinced that he's 100% nailed, but I think at the moment he's the best of the 4.0 options. Obviously, I think Ferguson's a better option, but he's currently out injured. Stevens, he's not completely nailed in my team, but I think that, he's guaranteed starts. The other one I've been looking at is Gordon from Everton. I think that he's slightly more of a risk in terms of minutes, and that's the only reason I've gone for Stevens. But I think that potentially longer term, Gordon could be an interesting shout. I just don't really want to be making a transfer in that position if I can avoid it. Button, the only reason I've gone for him is that I don't think he's going to drop in value. So I've seen a lot of people go for Nyland. The reason I've gone for Button is I think that Nyland, when Heaton comes back into the team, he's obviously going to lose his place and he might lose value. And I don't really want to be wasting a transfer for my second goalkeeper. Nyland wouldn't be playing anyway. I'd be playing McCarthy every week. So that's the reason I've gone for Button over Nyland. Let me know what you think of my team in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Bye for now.